Maybe it was because another full moon had passed since we moved from our old village, but it began to feel really as if this could be our home here. The chickens had settled into the new roots, and we didn't need to corral the pigs to stop them wandering anymore. Ma had traded flower cloths on the highway for lamp oil and new nets to fish the moncton. I had killed 6 white-bellied rats for the pot with my slingshot. Ma was pleased, as we couldn't hunt bush meat from the forest anymore. Our old life in the mountains became like a distant memory. It didn't seem real anymore, more like part of a dream. May and Suli had been for lessons with their new teacher who'd come to teach in the shade beneath the spreading branches of the flame tree. I didn't go with them. I had to help Pa in the fields to clear the weeds and stones and dig the irrigation channels for the rice. We didn't have much time before the rain came. I slugged the pick and shovel across my back and headed out to the fields. My feet scuffled the hot earth. My mouth felt dry, everything felt dry. I imagined the throat of the earth waiting for the rain. I imagined rain spitting the dust, filling up the cracks in the ditches and the steam beds. It wouldn't be long. The monsoon was coming. I could feel it. The dust in the air sprinkled with it, as one day soon the rain would come. I passed other villagers bent double, their wide-brimmed hats keeping off the sun. Our field was furthest away, set back into the corner of a low hill. Pa had worked hard to clear the stones, although we had to wait for the rain to soften the earth before we could plow and leave it. He said we would plant fruit trees on the hill, maybe even some bees, not the wild ones like in the forest, but we'd keep them in wooden hives. Pa understood bees. They understood him, too. I found him marking up the irrigation channels along the border of our field. In the monsoon we would rely on water from the hills, but the General Chang had promised us a water pump for dry season. It meant we would be able to grow other crops all year, too. Pa straightened up, pushing his hand into the small of his back. We need the handcart too, Tam. We have to move these stones. I laid the pick and the shovel on the ground next to him. I'll get it now. Pa wiped the sweat from his face. And a drink, Tam. Bring water when you come back. I ran along the field's edge and only stopped when I reached the low rise of the hill. I turned back to look at Pa. He was stooped to reach the pickaxe. He looked out of place here. In our old village, Pa was the bee man. He walked tall in the forest. He talked to the bees. The bees told him everything. But here, without the forest, my father was just a farmer, just a man. Sunlight flashed on the pickaxe as he swung it high above his head. Maybe if the forest bees had been here, they would have warned him. Maybe the bees would have seen the trusted metals casing hidden untouched beneath 40 years of mud and weeds. But there were no forest bees. I catch the pick swing in a slow arc and sink into the ground. There was no warning, none. The ground exploded and lifted up into the sky. Mud and earth, stone rained down. And when the dust cleared, my father, the bee man, was gone.